So just about a year ago, I decided that I was going to stop posting these videos about freelancing and solopreneurship to YouTube. And if I'm honest with you, I thought that it was going to be an easier journey. Now, in my case, it's not because making the videos itself is hard. I know that for some people, there's the learning curve with learning the software and the editing tools. But because I do training and instructional design, that's something that I was already familiar with. So that part was easy for me. The part that isn't easy for me is because I believed if you consistently shared helpful ideas, people would eventually find them and hear your message. I've learned that's only half true. So I'm Jennifer, I'm with the Freelance Shift, and I help freelancers and solopreneurs learn skills that are going to save them time and money, specifically often dealing with certain aspects of technology and AI because that's my wheelhouse. I am hoping to help people to build a six-figure or multiple six-figure freelance business like I've been able to do over the past few years. But I've learned that the reality is that creating content on YouTube is just one part of the job. Getting people to notice that content is a completely different skill. So over the past year, I've been learning things that I never expected that I'd need to learn. Because of my background in teaching, I basically never really thought too much about the title of the lesson. I never created a fancy thumbnail for the learning management system that I was using. But with YouTube, you need to know how to design thumbnails that someone actually wants to click on, which now seems so obvious to me. But when I started off, I really didn't understand that importance. Additionally, I didn't put much thought into writing titles that would actually spark curiosity without becoming clickbait. Now, another thing, how to keep someone's attention for the first 30 seconds of a video, that's not a skill that I had learned as a professor or a consultant. It's definitely something that is still a work in progress for me, but I'm doing my best. So I'm working to develop all of these tangential skills basically from scratch. And as I will very honestly admit here, I am still learning. And in this learning process, there have been plenty of moments when I've wondered if anyone's going to find these videos and if it's worth me still putting the time and energy into doing them. Because as any of you know who have tried to create any sort of helpful content for others, you do put hours into researching your topics and then writing outlines, recording them, editing them, and inevitably publishing them. And most of us do it with the intention of genuinely helping someone. But then the reality is that sometimes our videos only get 30 views, and that can be discouraging. But I'll tell you what's kept me going and what's going to keep me personally going. And it's because I still believe that I have something worth saying, not because I have everything figured out, but because I have a diversity of experience and I have years of experience in this role, and I've been able to build something that's successful. So one thing that really resonated with me is from a course that I've recently been taking about building a business. And the lesson was basically based on a staircase. The instructor showed a staircase on a slide and made a very simple point. She said that even if you're nowhere near the top, and you're still on the bottom to mid stairs where I am, you're still responsible for helping the people on the steps below you. And that there are genuinely people on those steps below you who could benefit from what you have to say. And that image really stayed with me because that is exactly the experience that I've had, is that I have learned along my path from the people who are a few stairs ahead of me, helping me to walk up the stairs essentially as they're walking up a few stairs. So in my case, I'm still climbing. I'm still figuring out YouTube. I'm not an expert, and I would not at any point right now try to give anyone any advice on it. But because I'm still learning how to tell better stories and how to build something that people want to come back to, I'm still a few steps ahead because I know the content that I'm presenting. There are people who I know are just starting to explore AI or haven't explored it at all. I know that there are people who are hoping or considering leaving academia who aren't exactly sure what path to follow, or other people who are just launching their freelance business, and other people who are wondering maybe if they have something that's worth sharing with others about their particular niche. So because others were generous enough to share what they had learned when I was on those lower steps, I feel a responsibility to do the same. So that's why I keep making videos. And if nothing else, one thing that this year has taught me is that the conviction matters. Yeah, I know the thumbnails and the titles and the hooks and the algorithm all matter too. But I've not only learned about YouTube, I've learned a lot about myself and learning a new process because I have been teaching for years and years. So that sort of comes naturally to me, where this whole process is new and something that I'm learning. But I think that believing that your message is worth sharing to some people is really important. And that's what I believe. I believe that right now we're living through one of the bigger shifts in how people work and learn and build businesses. And I want to help people who are a little bit behind me to navigate that shift. So even though some of my videos don't do well and will maybe not do well in the future, I'm learning and growing, learning how to make better content, write better titles, better thumbnails, and hopefully sharing information that's valuable to a population of people who will find me when the time is right. Essentially, if what I'm talking about can save anyone else a few hours, a few weeks, or a few months of time, then I do feel like it's worth continuing and hitting publish. But if you're still watching now, I would love to know what you'd like to learn more about. Is it more practical AI tutorials, more about Microsoft Copilot, building a freelance business in general, or maybe even making the transition to academia to consulting? I'm building this channel one video at a time, and I'd love for the next video to be something that would be relevant and helpful to you so that I can feel like I'm genuinely helping people who are climbing the same staircase. So if there's something that you'd like me to explore, please let me know. There's a good chance I'll put it on my list. Take care and hopefully see you next time.